172 years ago, October 22, 1844. We know history records it as a great disappointment. A New England group of religious believers taught and fully expected that Jesus Christ would literally appear and take them all to heaven. Much to their dismay, he did not appear. And history records that non-event as a great disappointment. They saw it as twofold. First, the great expectation, then the great disappointment. They had looked at it as an expected glorious event that was about to happen. They fully believed that they were going to see Jesus face to face. They believed that the desire of all ages was about to make an appearance, and they were going to forever be with him. That is not a bad thought, is it? That was their great expectation. And then it did not happen. And their great disappointment. Revelation, the 10th chapter, calls it the sweet in the mouth, but bitter in the stomach. The words as they spoke them tasted so good. The thought that Jesus Christ himself, they were about to meet. You know, some words we say taste so good in the mouth. Pie. Chocolate pie. A strawberry milkshake on a hot, humid day. When they spoke the words and they shared the message back then in 1844 that Jesus would come soon, so soon they thought. It was a sweet thought. It tasted good, tastefully and emotionally. But when he did not come, that great good-tasting expectation quickly turned bitter in the stomach, because theirs was really a misguided expectation. You say, how could that happen? How could people search the Scriptures and grab the Word of God and gather around and search the Scriptures diligently, and based on that search that the Scriptures come up with something that the Scriptures did not teach was about to happen? But that is what happened. Life is filled with misguided expectations. A young girl meets a handsome young guy, and she thinks, oh, he's gonna be wonderful. We're gonna spend our life together. Now, this goes vice versa, guys. You know, we think the same way. They get married, and the fun and the glamour many times wears off, and they are disappointed. It did not turn out as was expected. Life can be that way in jobs. Someone trains for, someone studies for, someone dreams of. They expected it to be a great job. You know what I mean. They expect it to be a great job, but they are misguided. It is not. This can happen in the endeavors that we involve ourselves in. We go about seeking to accomplish something. We're going to change something. We're going to launch out into something we really believe in. We have high expectations. This is going to work. And it does not work. Yes, life is filled with expectations. And life is filled with misguided expectations. The Bible itself is loaded with illustrations of misguided expectations. the Messiah finally arrived. They expected him, we all know, to be a king. He came as a ministering servant. They expected that he would set up his throne. His throne became a cross. Their expectations were misguided. We today are not immune from misguided expectations. At times in church, regarding sharing that which we believe, it's like we go back to the days in early America when the settlers, with the native Indians around them, built their high wood fortresses to protect them and separate them from others. And sometimes it's like our church today. We have forays out of the fort. We grab somebody and we bring them back into the fort with us, and whereupon we proceed to make them, or try to make them, just like us in every one of our beliefs and our customs. Many times, in urgency, we grab them away from their family, their relatives, their friends, and their cultures, and their ways of living, and their ways of doing things, and they are expected to learn even all of our customs and ways, yet to still live with their families and friends back where they live. But they have to become one with us in every way that we do things and everywhere we are. I tell it like it is. We wonder why it is so often that it does not work out so well. When we are a church-going people, it is like we have a big circle as a church family. I love the circle of the family, don't you? We have a big circle of the church family. There's another circle, and it is all the people that are not a part of our church family. It's like we feel like we have to do something about that. We have a message that we must share. We must witness. And we gird ourselves with literature, books, tapes, DVDs, and we head out into the other circle with much prayer and much courage. We distribute. We witness, and then we head back to our circle of the church. We have witnessed. It's like expectations we have, the results we want, they don't take place. It proves not to be true, that if you foray out and you witness that the results that you seek are automatically, immediately realized. It is then that we can be the victims of misguided expectations. Consider this, if you will, with me, that in this world, we are in one huge circle together, every human being that exists. We are one big conglomeration of cultures, of smaller circles within the big circle in life. And in the midst of this big circle of life, with all of these cultures and everything else we face, we, the church, work and witness and grow spiritually. But within the church, we are all different within this circle of the church. There are some in the church that feel one way about something, and some feel other ways. There are some that have customs that others do not have. So we are not alike in everything within the church. That's our circle. Yet in the church, we work and witness and we grow spiritually. We are all different within the circle of our church. Our culture, our families, our talents, our personalities are a spectrum of variety. But our common core, is it not our belief and our Lord that we share. That is our common core. And we need not expect others that we share with, that we share our belief with, that we witness to, that we give information to become one with us in totality of all that we are. The variety that composes all of us will be found in other circles that compose a larger element of human society. Just as out in society there are different circles and different cultures and the different way that people do things, so it is within the church. And new individuals within the church are not to be expected to become little us's in all of our ways, to divorce themselves totally from their families, their relatives, and their friends. They are not expected to do that. In fact, so many times, that is what we have done. And in the process, we have rendered ourselves ineffective as being conduits to bring them to our faith. And it is thus, so many times, that we are victims of misguided expectations. I pastored a church in a large metropolitan area in close proximity to an Adventist college in a large Adventist organizational setting. We set upon having an evangelistic crusade in conjunction with the Department of Religion of that college, with the head of the theology sector as a speaker, and with Patty as the gospel vocalist, and myself as the pastoral coordinator. The theology students would gain experience in a hands-on, involved way. A local elder who was an officer in our general conference counseled me kindly that the evangelistic crusade in that area would not work, that my expectations would not be realized. I was a little more brash then. My response was, since when did the fear of failure give us a license not to carry out our mission? We still proceeded, and what a solid supporter he became, he and his wife. Attended every meeting, actively participating in working with the 38 new converts. He acknowledged privately and publicly that his expectations of failure had been misguided. In my first experience as a pastor, with hair the color of my shoes, I was a youth pastor. The senior pastor had me daily going out with the old 20th century Bible course, and I was to be given a couple dozen studies each week. That was my assignment. After a few months, I had 3 people ready for baptism. I reported to my success and their completion of their lessons and their decision for baptism, and I asked the senior pastor to schedule an immediate baptism. He said no. That the church board just last night decided to bring an evangelist to conduct a series of meetings. He envisioned that the 3 Bible study graduates would be the seed, the guarantee that we would know that at the end of the harvest we would have at least 3. We brought our conference president in as the speaker for those meetings. He thought that others would, seeing the 3 baptisms near the conclusion of the meetings, be motivated and encouraged to join the other 3 in baptism. At the end of the evangelistic meetings, we baptized 2 of the 3 that I already had ready and no others. The church had not been ready, had not gotten prepared. Their expectations of the pastor and the church had not been met. They were the victims. We all were of misguided expectations. What is, I could ask you, our expectation in sharing our faith in sharing our message. When we have expectations that those who respond to the message that we have will somehow be better than we ourselves are, it doesn't work. It's like once we had an evangelistic crusade and we baptized 70 people. I developed as a pastor what I call the RONOS list for my congregation. RONOS. R for regular attendance, O for occasional attendance, N who never attended, O for out of the area, and S for shut-ins. I did that with my members for 2 years. When the evangelistic crusade ended, I began charting the 70 new converts. 2 years later, the 70 had copied exactly within 2 percentage points the church members that were already there before the meetings in attendance at church, Sabbath school, and prayer meeting. Monkey see, monkey do. Why would they not? When we have discussions of success or what we term failure in our conversations relating to witness and outreach, when we hear, where are those who came to the meetings? Where are those we baptized? Maybe we baptized people we shouldn't have. They weren't ready. People aren't interested anymore. Society has changed. It seems as if we are not aware that we have developed scriptural Alzheimer's. We have developed Alzheimer's when we consider the word of Jesus himself as he spoke to us. Are we not aware of Matthew 13? Have we not forgotten what Christ taught of the sower, the net, and the seed? Now, I have stood before you, and I have told you what I observe and what I think. But I want to point you to Jesus Christ himself and what he said and what he thought in these scriptures, and they are many. The parable of the sower in Matthew 13, 1 through 8. The same day Jesus went out of the house and sat by the seaside. And the great multitudes that were gathered unto him, so that he got in a ship. And he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth to sow. And when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Jesus continued, Some fell upon stony places, where they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth. And when the sun was up, they were scorched. And because they had no root, they withered away. And some fell amongst thorns, sprung up and choked them. But others fell amongst good ground and brought forth fruit, some 100, some 60, some 30-fold. And then Jesus continues, Listen you to him. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom and understand it, it is not, then comes a wicked one and catcheth away that which was sown in the heart, is he which received the seed by the wayside. But he that receiveth the seed in stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, anon and joy receiveth it. Yet he has not root in himself, but lasteth for a little while. Tribulation or persecution arise by cause of the word, and by he is offended. Jesus continues, He also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, And the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful. But he that receiveth seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word, understandeth it, which also beareth fruit and bringeth forth some 100, some 60, some 30. Now, hear you, Jesus again. The kingdom of heaven is like a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind, which when it was full, they drew to shore and sat down and gathered the good into vessels and cast the bad away. So shall it be at the end of the world. The angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from amongst the just, and shall cast into the furnace of fire, and there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Now, continue to hear Jesus talking about seeds and weeds. Another parable he put forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened to a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares amongst the wheat and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the household came and said unto him, Sir, did not thou sow good seed in my field? From whence then have it tares? He saith unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servants said to him, Wilt thou that we go and gather them up? But Jesus said, No, lest while you gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them. Let them both grow together until the harvest, and in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. Then Jesus sent the multitude away. He went into the house, and his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. He answered and said unto them, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. In other words, he that soweth the good seed is Jesus. The field is a world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is a devil, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of the world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend and that do iniquity, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire, where there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. Lest we have scriptural Alzheimer's, please read and reread those verses and words from Jesus. Jesus is saying in Matthew 13, when you witness, when you share your faith, when you reach out, you are going to experience failure. When you think that everyone you share with is going to embrace the full truth, never waver, never fall by the wayside, then you have become a victim of misguided expectations. Some will come in and shine bright, and we'll say, oh boy, did we get a good one. And then they fade away. Some will not join us. Some will join us and stay. Misguided expectations can discourage us, can cause us to not do more, to say, we tried, we can't do it again. The believers in 1844 were indeed the victims of misguided expectations those 172 years ago. Now, my responsibility is to bring it from the far away to the now. What we regard as failure could really be success. Let us not succumb to misguided expectations. After all, God's last day church came from that October 22, 1844 misguided expectation.
Time after time I was searching for peace in some void. I was trying to blame all my ills on this world I was in. Surface relationships used me till I was done ill, and all the while someone was waiting to free me from sin. He was there all the time. He was there all the time, waiting patiently in line. He was there all the time. Never again will I look for a fake rainbow's end. Now that I have the answer, my life is just starting to rhyme. Sharing each new day with him is a cup of fresh life. Oh, what I've missed, he's been waiting right there all the time. He was there all the time. He was there all the time, waiting patiently in line. He was there all the time. He was there all the time.